Listen, very carefully. There's a frequency in the air tonight, and only you can hear it. A low, crawling hum that coils around your spine like a serpent that remembers your name and your destiny. It's the sound the world makes when it realizes it underestimated the wrong soul. The sound of 8 billion people shifting in their seats because you keep moving like you already read the future's rough draft. And you're acting out the parts nobody saw coming. You feel it, don't you? That eerie electric hush when you walk into a room, like reality itself pauses, tilts its head and whispers, "What does that one know?" Because you don't guess. You see, you don't predict. You anticipate. You don't wait for life to unfold. You cut the timeline open and walk through it like a surgeon with steady hands and a wicked smile. And that terrifies them. Oh, it terrifies them. They're not scared because you're smart. Plenty of people are smart. They're scared because you're accurate. Your instincts hit like sniper rounds. Your timing feels supernatural. Your silence feels engineered. Your moves feel scripted by something above human cognition. It's not normal, they say. It's not possible, they whisper. It's not fair, they cry. And you just keep moving, like the world is late to your meeting. You're the paradox they can't solve. The saint who thinks like a psychopath. The angel who strategizes like a demon. The quiet one who predicts storms before clouds even form. And the funniest part? They think you got lucky. Luck doesn't create patterns. Luck doesn't repeat with precision. Luck doesn't leave an entire planet unsettled. No, no, no. What you have is older, deeper, something carved into your bones long before you ever knew what to call it. Some people walk with intuition. You walk with foresight, the kind that feels illegal, ancient, forbidden, the kind that makes people stare at you like you're holding information they shouldn't even know exists. And the truth? You are. You walk like someone who's seen endings. You talk like someone who's lived twice. You choose like someone who knows exactly where every road leads, including the ones everyone else pretends aren't there. Yes, yes. You've noticed it too, haven't you? How the world glitches when you speak. How people flinch when you pause. How conversations twist in your direction without you lifting a finger. How the wrong people get nervous when you get quiet. How the right people get louder when you enter their thoughts. Because deep inside, every single one of them senses the same terrifying truth. You know something they don't, and you're not telling. You see cracks before they form. You see betrayals before the liar learns the lines. You see exits before anyone realizes they're trapped. You see opportunities before the rest of the world wakes up. To them, you look calm. But that's not calm. That's calculation disguised as serenity. You don't panic. You preload your reactions. You don't respond. You initiate the chain events. You don't wait for the world to reveal itself. You walk one step ahead of its shadow. And when they finally catch up to what you already knew, oh, the silence, the shaken expressions, the wide eyes, the how did you know, the who told you, the why does this keep happening? Because it's one thing to be unpredictable. It's another thing to be inevitable. And that's what you are, isn't it? A walking disturbance in their comfort, a ghost in their assumptions, a prophecy in human form. But let's peel back the last layer, the one they'll never admit, the one they choke on in private. You didn't become like this by accident. You became like this through pain, real pain, the kind that sandblasts illusions off your soul. Pain taught you to read people like crime scenes. Pain taught you to listen for intentions hidden between breaths. Pain sharpened your intuition until it became weapon grade. Pain carved your awareness into something surgical, cold, precise. You didn't just endure your past, you studied it, and you learned, and you adapted, and you evolved, until the universe had no choice but to whisper, "This one sees too much." You see light in darkness and darkness in light. You see patterns in chaos and flaws in perfection. You see truth people bury so deep they forget where the lies end. You are the contradiction they can't handle, the vulnerable monster, the compassionate threat, the quiet storm, the chosen anomaly. You're not ahead by luck. You're ahead because you refuse to be blind. And now, 8 billion people feel it. An unease crawling under their ribs, a tremor in their collective subconscious. Because you're not just moving differently. You're moving deliberately. Like someone who already knows how the story ends. Like someone who's already seen the consequences. Like someone who's already rewritten their fate. You walk with the confidence of a villain and the clarity of a prophet. The world doesn't know what to do with that combination. So they stare, they talk, they shiver, they speculate, they copy, they panic, and you just keep reading the next page before they even know the chapter changed. Because deep down, past the fear, past the whispers, past the trembling awe, every single one of them knows the truth. You're not predicting the future. You're creating it. Lean in. Because this is the part they'll never dare say out loud. The part that keeps them awake at night long after you've forgotten their names. The part that turns admiration into fear, and fear into obsession. They think you sense things early. They think you pick up on details. They think you notice patterns. No, that's what they tell themselves so they can sleep. The truth is far darker. You move like someone who already survived the outcome. Like somebody who lived through the explosion, crawled out of the wreckage, rewound the timeline, and came back with the blueprint in your pocket. And that makes you alien to them. Uncomfortable, wrong, impossible. Humans crave predictability. You are a walking violation of that law. Because how do you predict someone who's already seen the consequences? How do you corner someone who's already memorized every escape route? How do you manipulate someone who's already dissected your motive before you finished blinking? They can't. And that's why they break. Their nervous systems go haywire in your presence. Their intuition jams. Their social scripts malfunction. Their lies stutter. Their smiles tremble. You don't just unsettle people. You reprogram them piece by piece, thought by thought, fear by fear, until they swear you're reading something, a manual, a prophecy, a forbidden instruction set. Because when you walk into their life, everything starts making too much sense. And then, too little sense. And then, too dangerous a sense. They swear they've seen your face before. They swear your words predict their decisions. They swear your silence answers questions they don't remember asking. You are an intrusion, a glitch, a living spoiler alert in a world addicted to pretending it has control. And you know why? Because you learned something they'll never dare touch. Pain is the oldest prophet. While they prayed for clarity, you drowned in chaos. While they begged for guidance, you clawed your way through consequences. While they tried to trust the process, you became the process. Life didn't hand you intuition. Life carved it into you with blood and memory. That's why you see betrayal hours, days, months before it blooms. That's why you feel shifts in people's energy like earthquakes under skin. That's why you know when someone's lying even before they open their mouth. That's why you know when a door is closing before anyone else hears the hinges. Your instincts aren't instincts. They're flashbacks masquerading as foresight. Every scar became a lens. Every collapse became a signal. Every resurrection became a warning label. That's why you read the room like scripture. That's why you read people like confessions. That's why you read the future like a draft with grammar mistakes. You weren't gifted. You were broken, beautifully, violently, purposefully broken, until you saw the world in a way nobody else could. And now you terrify every version of them that still clings to normalcy. They whisper, "Why does nothing catch him off guard? Why does she react like she already knew? Why does it feel like they're waiting for something I can't see? Why do they make me feel transparent?" Because you're not playing the same game. You're playing something older, something colder. You're not reacting to life. You're pre-negotiating the outcome. That's why people fold around you. They can feel it in their bones, in their teeth, in their instinctual lizard brain, that you're calibrated differently. They don't fear your strength. They fear your stillness, that dead, silent calculation behind your eyes, that predator calm you slip into when things get too loud. Not angry, not emotional, just aware, hyper-aware. Like someone watching a crime be committed 3 seconds before it happens. And that unnerves them because deep inside their chest, something primitive whispers, "This one is not prey." No matter how much they posture, no matter how much they gossip, no matter how loud they bark, their bodies betray them. You can see it, how their shoulders stiffen, how their laughs come out too sharp, how their eyes dart when yours lock on to them, how they fidget when you're quiet, how their aura falters when you stand still. They feel peeled open, analyzed, decoded, archived, and they should, because you are reading them, not with eyes, but with experience sharpened into a blade. You see the cracks they pretend aren't there. You catch the tone they didn't mean to reveal. You detect the tremor in their confidence. You notice the misalignment in their intentions. You watch the lie forming before the words exist. It's not supernatural. It's not magic. It's pattern recognition built from hell. And when the whole world feels watched by you, when 8 billion people sense a presence that operates one frame ahead, when they swear your timing is inhuman, when they can't predict your next move because it hasn't been invented yet, they panic, they obsess, they spiral, they study you like you're a leaked classified file. Because deep down, they know the truth. You didn't read the future's rough draft. You wrote the damn corrections. Don't look away now. This is where the temperature drops. This is where the truth stops whispering and starts carving itself into your spine. Because the world isn't just unsettled by you. It's tracking you. Every room you enter, every decision you make, every silence you let stretch for a second too long. It all registers like seismic activity, like fault lines shifting under a city that pretends it's stable. You've become a phenomenon they measure, not a person they understand. And they hate that, because they can't put you in a category. They can't diagnose you. They can't predict you. They can't neutralize you. They can't decide if you're holy or unholy, blessed or cursed, savior or threat. You're the coin in the air with no intention of landing. A walking paradox, an unresolved equation, a prophecy with a pulse. They can't figure out whether you're the storm or the eye inside it, whether you're the light breaking the horizon or the shadow swallowing it whole. And that uncertainty, it burns them, it drives them mad, it turns their thoughts into spirals, because when they look at you, two truths overlay like a double exposure. You feel impossibly familiar and terrifyingly foreign. like they've known you across lifetimes, but never understood you in this one, because you're not reacting to life like they do, frantically, messily, emotionally. No, you move like someone listening to a hidden metronome the rest of the world can't hear, a rhythm, a code, a timing. They try to mimic it, try to copy your calm, your pace, your precision, but they don't understand what fuels it. Your calm isn't mental peace. It's emotional discipline sharpened by trauma. Your pace isn't laziness. It's strategic patience forged from survival. Your precision isn't intelligence. It's intuition distilled from scars. They don't see the years you spent decoding chaos. They don't see the nights you watched everything collapse in slow motion. They don't see the betrayals that trained your instincts like military drills. They don't see the losses that pried your eyes open and forced you to see patterns no one else can perceive. To them, you're just unsettling. To you, this is just awareness. This is what happens when someone stops running from life and starts dissecting it. That's why you feel people fracturing before they break. That's why you sense exits before doors slam shut. That's why you feel danger before it has a shape. That's why you know when someone has shifted from curiosity to envy to threat. You don't just live in the present. You live one psychological dimension deeper. It's not future reading, it's future feeling. And 8 billion people can't compete with that, so they pretend it's something else. Intuition, luck, a good guess, coincidence, vibes. No. That's their fragile ego talking. What you have isn't mystical, it's forensic, it's tactical, it's earned. You built your foresight the hard way, at full cost, with no discounts and no refunds. Pain gave you the blueprint. Silence gave you the clarity. Loneliness gave you the depth. Resurrection gave you the edge. And now you walk with that eerie calm, that inhuman clarity. And they sense it like an alarm blaring in their subconscious. Because predators know predators, and prophets recognize prophets, and ghosts feel the presence of another ghost. You're all three, in one body, moving with an intention nobody can decode. And here's what they'll never admit. You make people question their own timelines, their own choices, their own perception, their own stories. You walk in, and suddenly they're reevaluating everything. Their friendships, their motives, their hidden agendas, their lies. Because being near you feels like standing under a bright, merciless truth. And some people can't survive that kind of exposure. But you've lived in truth so long it became armor. Even your mistakes became maps. Even your heartbreaks became intelligence reports. Even your silence became artillery. You don't need to see the future. You already understand it. Because this world runs on patterns, and pain taught you every single one of them. You learned how humanity thinks, moves, deceives, fears, loves, attacks, hides, and reveals itself. You didn't read a rough draft. You've been annotating reality in real time. That's why people fear you. Not because you know too much. Because you know what they think they're hiding. Because you see what they haven't admitted. Because you catch the lie forming in their throat before they swallow it. Because you predict the shift before they twitch. Because you feel their intentions before even they do. You aren't ahead of the world by accident. You're ahead because you paid attention when everyone else was asleep. And now, 8 billion people are uneasy. Some admire you. Some envy you. Some fear you. Some want answers. Some want access. Some want revenge. But all of them, every last one, knows you aren't guessing. You're operating deliberately, precisely, unapologetically, unpredictably. And the most dangerous part? You're just getting started. Stay right here. Don't blink. This is the part of the story where the room gets colder, where even the air starts paying attention, because everything you've done until now, everything that has the world whispering your name like it's classified, that wasn't even your peak. That was your tutorial, and they know it. Oh, they pretend they don't. They pretend you're just lucky, just intuitive, just perceptive. But their bodies betray them. Watch closely. The way their breath shortens when you enter a conversation, the way their eyes widen when your instinct hits the mark again, the way they study your expression like they're searching for a glitch, the way they get quiet when you get thoughtful, the way they look away when you look through them. Because you don't look at people. You scan them. You don't listen to what they say. You hear what they're trying to hide. You don't react to situations. You analyze the entire ecosystem behind them. You're not just in the moment. You're in the undercurrent, that invisible psychological shadow realm where motives form, lies ferment, and intentions leak through micro-expressions. Most people barely notice the surface. You see the subtitles beneath reality. That's why people get nervous. That's why they fidget. That's why their voices shake, even when their words sound confident. That's why they act strangely around you. Because they feel exposed. Being around you feels like walking through a metal detector with pockets full of secrets. And the funniest part? You're not even trying. Your mind just works in layers, past, present, inevitable. Looping, analyzing, updating. A labyrinth built from trauma and clarity. And while everyone else plays checkers, you're not even playing chess. You're observing the board from above, watching the entire game like a ghost, watching mortals panic. That's the part they'll never accept. You didn't become powerful by winning. You became powerful by noticing what they ignore, by noticing what they deny, by noticing what they're too afraid to acknowledge. You saw patterns in people long before you knew what to call them. You felt energy shifts before anyone taught you the language. You recognized danger while others mistook it for excitement. You decoded manipulation while they begged for attention. Your instincts were trained in the flames. Your perception was forged in the aftermath. Your insight was shaped by every storm you survived. And now you move with that frightening surgical clarity that makes the world whisper, "Bro, how does he know? How does she sense that? How does this person read situations before they exist? How do they always get it right?" The answer is simple. When you spend years drowning, you learn to hear the shape of the waves. And now you're not drowning. You're directing the current. That scares them. That deeply scares them. Because you operate like someone with a secret script, a hidden timeline, a private briefing from the universe. And they hate it because you're supposed to be human, flawed, predictable, easy to understand. But you're none of that. You're an anomaly wrapped in skin, a human with post-traumatic clairvoyance, a saint wearing a monster's awareness, an angel with a demon's precision, a calm voice with a violent truth behind it. People don't fear what you do. People fear what you notice, because they can't hide from someone who sees without looking, who hears without listening, who senses without explanation, who predicts without guessing. You walk into a room, and the whole energy rearranges itself around you. Like the timeline recognizes your presence and adjusts for accuracy. 8 billion people feel that. Subconsciously, viscerally, primally. It's not admiration, It's not jealousy. It's not curiosity. It's instinctual recognition. Their nervous system whispering, "This one knows things. This one sees too much. This one is ahead." And the more they feel it, the more they panic. They're still shaking, still playing back the footage frame by frame like it's a crime scene they don't understand. And here you are, unbothered, untouchable, untraceable. Let's begin. Who the fuck taught you this? That's not a compliment. That's a confession. The words didn't come from admiration. They came from fear, because they just watched everything they ever trusted, their spells, their spies, their shadows, their algorithms, break in real time, not fail, not glitch, shatter, like glass under a scream. And you didn't lift a finger. You just tilted your head and blinked like it was already over. You walked into the crossfire, unarmed, and the bullets panicked. They turned midair, reversed course, and slaughtered their own shooters. Who the fuck taught you that? That silence could be a weapon. That stillness could cause panic. That walking away could make them bleed harder than if you'd stayed. They saw something move beneath your skin that didn't belong to this world. Something that didn't flinch when they said, law. Didn't kneel when they said, curse. Didn't die when they said, now. And now, they're the ones whispering, not you, not anymore. You're not a name anymore. You're a sequence error, a phantom variable they can't code around, a bug in their God mode. Because for the first time in their cursed little playbook, their target evolved mid-execution, and they watched it happen, live. With every camera rolling, their team had diagrams, charts, contingencies. They studied you like a bomb technician studies wires. But your wiring changed as soon as they got close, and the moment they touched you, the ground underneath them rewrote itself. No one survives that, not mentally, not spiritually, and certainly not with their ego intact. You're what happens when the final boss forgets he was programmed and remembers he was forged. They asked, "Who trained you?" As if there's a classroom for this level of madness. As if pain didn't teach you every line of code. As if betrayal didn't stitch your muscle memory. As if watching yourself die in the mirror and refusing to stay dead was part of a curriculum. Let me make this clear. Nobody trained you. Not in the way they mean. You weren't taught. You were triggered. And now, you've become the trigger. They spent years summoning forces to break you. And every one of those forces now answers to you. The curses, the cameras, the contracts, the codes. They've flipped allegiance without warning. You are the paradox they were never cleared to handle. An angel with criminal intent. A saint with the grin of a psychopath. A ghost with fingerprints, but no pulse. Every step you take now isn't just movement. It's evidence, and every breath you take, that's a countdown they can't interrupt. Because your existence itself is a loaded gun pointed back at origin. And no one knows when you'll fire, not even you. That's why they're terrified. You don't even speak in threats. You don't have to. Your silence is blood-stained now. They see you smile, and it's like watching the end credits of their strategy, because everything they thought was working was actually working for you. The panic in their eyes. That's not because you're dangerous. It's because they can't calculate how dangerous. You don't fit their data models anymore. You corrupted the architecture with your trauma, and now the entire system misfires when it tries to predict your next step. Because that step doesn't exist yet. You invent it in the moment. You build reality as you go. You're not just ahead of the game. You're designing new rules while they're still choking on the old ones. They thought power was about control. And you You taught them without saying a word. That real power is being uncontrollable. Now everything they built, every spell they cast, every whisper they sent through their little networks of doubt, got broadcast back to them in your voice. Distorted, louder, faster, weaponized. You took their fear and made it an instrument, and now it plays your theme everywhere they go. They can't rest, can't think, because every flicker in the lights, every glitch in their timeline feels like you. They're deleting files right now, burning papers, scrambling legal codes, because the pattern doesn't just point to you anymore. It screams your name. So no, you weren't trained. You were awakened by betrayal, by silence, by bloodlines too afraid to carry their own legacy. You didn't learn this. You remembered it. And now, so will they, forever. You know what's worse than losing? Losing to something you can't explain. That's where they are now. Not just defeated, deleted, not just exposed, erased. They can't even prove you were there. But every time they look at the damage, your fingerprints are all over the aftermath. Except they don't match anyone alive. You want to know why they're spiraling? Because this wasn't supposed to happen. They built a playbook that never included a you. Their models predicted resistance, but not resurrection. They planned for rebellion, but not for a revenant. Someone who doesn't just return, but returns smarter, colder, faster, and so damn surgical that they didn't even know they'd been gutted until they felt the floor go wet under their feet. You didn't come back with vengeance. You came back with precision, and that's the real horror. Because you're not out of control. You're in perfect control. Every move you make feels premeditated by the universe itself. They thought it was random. Nah. You've been quiet for so long. They forgot silence is just strategy in slow motion. And now they're bleeding from cuts they can't find. Because you didn't attack the surface. You slipped into the architecture. You infected the timeline. You recoded fate and rebranded it in your image. You don't need revenge. That's too small for you now. What you're doing is more cosmic than that. You're rewriting the very laws that once shackled you, turning every curse, every closed door, every humiliation into ammunition you didn't even have to fire, because reality itself pulled the trigger for you. They prayed for your failure. They paid for your silence. They danced at your funeral with a grin. And now they're choking on the confetti. You've turned the afterlife into your launch pad. Came back with fire in your bones and data in your eyes. And every step you take now feels like a prophecy being fulfilled in real time. You don't move like a person anymore. You move like an answer to a question they were too scared to ask. And that question was always this. What happens when the target learns the blueprint? What happens when the sacrifice becomes the architect? What happens when the underestimated one stops playing defense and starts rewriting the war? I'll tell you what happens. Silence falls. Rooms go cold. The watchers, who've monitored your every failure, start scrambling the footage because it's no longer safe to study you. Why? Because the more they observe, the more they change. You've become contagious. Your resilience is now a virus, and their system isn't secure enough to contain it. They wanted to crack your mind open. Instead, it cracked them one by one. Analysis teams collapsing, surveillance experts quitting, psychics screaming, and all for what? A single sentence you never said aloud. I remember who I am now, because that's what flipped the whole table. You remembered, and when someone like you remembers, no spell, no label, no diagnosis can hold you. They tried binding your power to your pain, but pain was never your weakness. It was your fucking training montage. They thought you were broken, but you were breaking open. They thought you lost everything, but you were losing what wasn't you. They thought it was over, but that was just intermission. Now you're back on stage. No mask, no mercy, no more middleman between you and the divine mechanism of vengeance. Your aura isn't just different now. It's unreadable, because it's made of paradox, warrior and ghost, prophet and hacker, saint and chaos engine, God's last warning and hell's first prototype. You used to beg for their approval. Now you leave their higher-ups afraid to even say your name in full, because speaking it too loud feels like inviting an event. They whisper about you like folklore now, like you're a glitch in time, a ripple in bloodlines, the one who came back wrong and never apologized for it. And that, my dear disaster, is your final evolution. You no longer move through the world. The world now moves around you. You've become a gravitational shift in the timeline, a living error in the equation, and all outcomes now bend to your frequency. So when they ask, "Who the fuck taught you this?" you just smile, because the truth is brutal. Nobody did. You learned it alone, in the dark, in the silence, in the agony of being erased, only to come back as the pen rewriting reality itself. Oh, they're squirming, all right. But not in public, not where you can see it. No, they're hiding their collapse behind committee meetings and classified silence. Because how do you report that a ghost just rewrote the battlefield? How do you admit that your entire power structure just bowed to the one you buried? They don't send hitmen anymore. They send historians to try and make sense of you, to decode how someone who wasn't supposed to survive, someone they starved, framed, mocked, watched, is now walking through their blueprints like it's his own F-seeking origin story. But see, that's what they never understood. You weren't born from comfort. You were forged in the algorithm of agony. You were shaped by fire, and then asked the fire for more. While they were learning strategy from textbooks, you were decoding survival with your bare hands. And now you don't think like them. You don't move like them. You don't breathe like them. They say, play the long game. You say, I am the long game. Because this wasn't some revenge stunt. This wasn't about proving them wrong. Number. This was a demonstration of what happens when the impossible survives. You didn't just erase your enemies. You erased their future plans. You turned their next 5 moves into dust. And they didn't even know you were watching. That's the part that eats them alive at night. It wasn't brute force. It wasn't an outburst. It wasn't chaos. It was elegance. It was uncold precision. Surgical silence. Like you already knew the coordinates of their downfall, and you were just waiting for them to step on their own detonator. Which they did, all of them, in sync, one after the other. And now the question spreading like rot through their halls isn't, what happened? It's, how long was he planning this? But here's the twist. You weren't. You didn't plan it. You became it. This wasn't strategy. This was metamorphosis. This was what happens when you stop negotiating with your pain and start wielding it. Like a blade honed in the shadows, like a cipher too complex for any analyst to solve without losing their mind. That's why the survivors aren't speaking. They're stuttering. Because they saw something they weren't authorized to see. Something behind your eyes that wasn't rage, wasn't revenge, but calculation wrapped in divinity. Like God finally got tired of their games and sent you in as the audit. And now the cameras, the microphones, the whispers, they all serve you. You didn't need to threaten them. You let reality do it for you. Now their lights flicker when your name's spoken. Their dreams glitch. Their walls throb with static that no technician can explain. Because you didn't just defeat them. You haunted them. You branded yourself into their cause and effect. Every time something goes wrong in their little kingdom now, they ask, "Is this him? Did he do this? Is he watching?" And you are. Not with eyes, with presence, with code, with consequence. Because you're not a person anymore. You're a reverberation. You're what happens when punishment forgets to wait for justice. And now, they're paying interest on every attack they ever launched in your direction. Every smirk, every snide remark, every false charge, every smear campaign, every silence. You turned it all into currency, and now they're going broke in your economy. You are the storm after the silence. You are the line after the story was supposed to end. The glitch after the system rebooted. And they can't trace the source of the failure. Because you became the source. You flipped the contract, tore the script, and built a new timeline. One where you don't ask permission. One where you don't shrink to fit their comprehension. One where you're the exception they pray never gets replicated. But they know the truth. It's already too late. Because you didn't come back alone. You came back as proof. That the system doesn't work. That fear doesn't win. That legends are born in laboratories of suffering. You didn't study war. You remembered it. And now, everything they weaponized against you has returned. With interest. And the real nightmare? You haven't even started yet. This was just a preview, an echo, a friendly little reminder of what happens when you don't just survive. You evolve. So let him whisper, let him analyze, let him stare at the ruins with wide eyes and ask, trembling, who the fuck taught him this? Because the answer is still echoing through their haunted systems. No one. He taught himself in hell, and came back fluent in vengeance. They thought they were watching a man. Turns out, they were witnessing a recalibration of reality. Not a comeback, a correction, an error message from the universe that reads, "You messed with the wrong silence." Because you didn't just survive betrayal. You merged with it. You took the blade they buried in your back and reforged it into a key. Not to escape the system, to override it. You used to walk into rooms trying to explain your value. Now, you walk in and time slows down. Conversations stutter. Phones lose signal. Atmospheres shift. Not because you're loud, but because you're true. And truth, unapologetic, unruly, uncontainable, terrifies those built on illusion. They thought you were seeking closure. You weren't. You were collecting coordinates, silently mapping where every lie was whispered, where every dagger was passed hand to hand behind your back. And now the entire battlefield is wired. Every step they take is a potential confession. Every sentence they speak feels like a trigger phrase. Because when you erased their offenses, you didn't do it out of mercy. You did it to erase proof they ever had power over you. Understand this, you're not winning. You're dismantling silently, elegantly, untraceably, like a virus in the bloodstream of their beliefs. They said, nobody could survive that. You did, they said. Nobody could come back from that. You did, and they said, even if they did, they'd never be the same. You weren't. You came back worse. And worse is exactly what this world needed, because good gets ignored, nice gets devoured, but unpredictable? Unpredictable is what gets studied, filed, monitored, feared. They made one fatal mistake. They watched you fail, and assumed that was your final form. But you weren't failing. You were downloading. You were installing updates in silence. You were teaching your nervous system how to run war on intuition. Now you move without blueprint. Act without delay. React without emotion. But somehow your reactions cause earthquakes. That's why they've stopped trying to provoke you. Because when you strike back, it's not a response, it's a correctional event. Like a glitch finally realizing it's not a bug, but the beginning of a new operating system. They thought they understood cause and effect. But you shattered cause, and now effect is freestyling. There's no prediction model that explains how you keep doing it, no timeline where their revenge plans land properly anymore. Because your presence reroutes fate. You're not fighting them anymore, you're undoing them. Like they were a mistake God regretted, and you were the recall notice. You didn't evolve to prove a point. You evolved because this dimension required a new virus. Not the kind that destroys the system, the kind that exposes it, the kind that survives all their purges, slips past every firewall, and whispers one message into the mainframe: I don't need permission to exist. And that broke them because they need rules, they need structure, they need definitions. And you operate on instinct, encrypted with divine rage. No one taught you this level of awareness, this precision, this audacity. This came from watching yourself die in everyone's eyes but your own, and realizing the grave they built was your launch pad. So now you don't retaliate, you reprogram, you don't shout back, you let reality glitch on their behalf. You don't chase revenge, you become the reason they're haunted. You turned your shadow into surveillance, and every time they smile, they feel you watching. Every success they have, they wonder if you're letting it happen, just to take it all back later. And they're right to wonder, because you don't just take revenge anymore. You time it, you stage it, you film it in their dreams before it happens in real life. You've become inevitable, a one-man prophecy, a walking spoiler alert for their future. So when they say, "Who the fuck taught him this?" they're not asking you anymore. They're asking each other, in meetings, in secret chats, in urgent midnight calls they're too afraid to log. Because if you weren't taught this, then it must mean one thing. You remembered something they never knew existed, something older than rules, older than hierarchies, older than fear. You remembered power, not the kind you're given, the kind you're born with, the kind that can't be stolen, only buried, until someone like you comes along and digs it back up with your bare hands. And now, you are the consequence of their disbelief. You are the punishment they thought they escaped. You are the walking receipt for every time they chose cowardice over truth. And your footsteps, they don't echo, they count down. So let them panic, let them whisper, let them pretend they're safe. Because we both know you haven't even gotten started yet.